Here it is, another one, another book review. This is a goodie. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. If you haven't read this book, you have to read this book. If you haven't heard of this book, what are you doing? Do you live under a rock? Like, what are your interests? Why have you not heard of this book? This is a absolute home run out of the park. I only came across this book maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I've probably read it 4 or 5 times in totality since, because it's one of those timeless books that you can just continue to take more stuff from every time you read it, and the lessons stick. Like they can continue to be revisited and revisited and revisited, because it's just got such good stuff from a content perspective, and such good things to like think about when you're trying to connect with people, right? Not only just, I don't know if I love the wording influence people, but connect with people. Anyway, How to Win Friends, Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This, just a little background about who Dale Carnegie is, and we'll kind of get to some of the meat and potatoes of the book. But Dale Carnegie, through his biographies, was looked at as a boy who always had a way with words. He went through debate classes, competitions, and what ended up happening was his peers were paying him for help. And he ended up going to college in Warrensburg, Missouri. He then graduated and went on to be a salesman for a meatpacking company. He moved to New York and ended up trying to play his role in acting, and when that didn't work out, he recalls rather, in some of the biographical information about him, that he helped and made money assisting people with their speaking ability, which goes back to, again, he read a lot, he always had a way with words. This was kind of like his shtick. So there was like this intertwined theme of this young guy, Dale, growing up to be a man, just having a way with words, and ultimately when you have a way with words, you can translate that into having a way with people. So his first foray into teaching was doing formalized classes at the YMCA, and he did that for about 2 years before he ended up opening his own school. And the first book he ever published was a textbook with the context and the curriculum for that class. And when he published this book, it was about that time that he changed his name from Carnegie. It was a different spelling. It was G-A-E, J-G-A-E, Carnegie. And he changed it to Dale Carnegie. Why would he do that? The reason he did it was to be synonymous or potentially affiliated with the name Andrew Carnegie, which, as we know, was a 19th century industry and steel mogul. So very shrewd on his part, and yes, this is a changed name, not Dale's given name. So acting doesn't work out, he goes into sales, he ends up helping people, and we're still in the backstory, so sorry, like I'm gonna get to some of the takeaways here, but it's interesting and good context. He ends up helping a lot of people with their interpersonal skills, their speaking skills. This leads to him teaching night class at the YMCA. He's able to open up his own school. We're past that, and this turns into a career of him teaching for 20 years. And what he discovered was that the best salespeople ended up being those with the best personal skills and the best speaking skills. So this then transitioned into him continuing to teach and then actually doing concerted effort research on what eventually led to How to Win Friends and Influence People, his baby, the Bible. When this book was published, it absolutely boomed with success, and because of it, his teaching in his schools boomed with success, and this led it to his school being taught through many different cities. This book has been translated into 15 languages, and to this day, right, going back to how this is a timeless book, something that doesn't, it's not just relevant for a period of time, it's timeless. it can be read and applied and utilized and valuable throughout many generations, many, revolutions, many waves of technology advances, whatever the case may be. This is a timeless book, and because of that, continues to be something that a lot of people pull from current day and age. And like I said, I've read this probably once a year for the past couple of years. So for some of the takeaways, the storytelling in here is fantastic, and it really resonates and shows like his way with words and how he connected with people, but it resonates through the storytelling. But some of the takeaways, I'll just give you some themes, and then obviously recommend you pick this up and read through it, if not once, multiple times. Like one that you want to get hard copy and have as part of your collection. So 1, listening to people is more important than talking about yourself. 2, be genuinely interested in people. 3, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Encourage others to talk about themselves. Be willing to ask about your own mistakes openly. So ask for that feedback, say, what have I done wrong? Note that, and this is also a key takeaway, that feeling important is built into our DNA. Always remember to use people's names. It is the single most sweetest word in everyone's language. And be sure to use illustrations, showmanship, and great storytelling to get your point across, to get your message across. So again, those takeaways, a lot of them are built, and you dive pretty deep into them through this book, through little anecdotal stories and examples. But the theme is that doing some of these things and some of these main takeaways, they're going to lead you to be a more likable person. And you could say, oh, me? I'm already super likable. Well, yes, you are. But do you know why? Like, do you know how the mind ticks? Do you know how people interact, or why that may be? Like, maybe you roll out of bed and you're God's gift to earth and people love you. Like, congratulations. I wish I had that ability. But what you may find interesting in reading this book is some of that psychology, and just what I would actually say, like, oh, duh, like that makes sense, but not really knowing that and having it spelt out is something that at least has been ingrained in my mind, and always comes back to, like, how you can elevate people around you, which ultimately is something that can make you more likable. So a lot of amazing stuff in here for people in general, for your relationships, be it professional, personal. Obviously from a business standpoint, you can pull a lot out of this if you deal with customers, if you're in sales, if you're managing people. Just so many good things out of this book. 100% buy it, read it, learn it, love it, apply it. And that's it.